Hey, here's a question, and I'll let you answer this first, Deg. What's something that you would like to see made into a video game that is not currently a video game?
So, like a show or a movie that I'd like to see.
Book, show, movie, big anime, manga, anything.
That's completely
all of
subject.
them.
Hello and welcome to Grasstouchers, the show where the three of us guys talk about video games and how much we like them, despite how little we actually get to play them. I am Jake.
I am Jared.
And I'm Greg.
No more Mr. Dr. Poo Poo.
I'm Jake's dog. What's your dog's name? Gizmo? I'm Gizmo.
No, it's Aurora.
Aurora, I'm sorry.
Aurora's in the room with me. Audience, I'm so sorry you can't see her unless you go to at 3 Grasstouchers on Instagram. You can see the dog. Hey, what have we been playing? Jared, kick us off, brother.
I have been playing more Dota, unsurprisingly. I love that game, and I seem to love it more and more. And I have also been busy sending us into space. Trying to send us into space on RimWorld. Our first colony. And I've got a rundown of that for you guys tonight to show you our exploits. Things got hairy.
Yeah, I'm stoked to hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog. She's peeing. Hey, what are you doing?
Well, guys, thank you for listening to Grasstouchers, the podcast where Jake never says anything and Jake's dog pisses on the rug 2 minutes in every time.
Sorry. Okay, Jared, you were talking about RimWorld. You were taking us to space. That's rad. Please continue.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Lots of Dota, some RimWorld, a lot of work. I think all of us are kind of on the same page this week. I don't know what happened. In the words of Tony Soprano, this is my busy season, and I think it's everybody else's busy season as well. So let's hear it, Greg. What's going on over there?
Same over here, guys. Busy with work, and haven't played many video games in the last week other than Helldivers with Jake and Tyler, which was rad.
So good.
Did go to a concert this past weekend. Saw Tyler Childers, who's an awesome like country bluegrass folk, not bluegrass.
I saw.
Like folk.
It was like it was you and or Casey like put a photo on Facebook or something. How was that? Pretty good.
Good. You would have loved Tyler Childers. You, Jake. His last name is totally not Phillips. Would have really loved him. It was really good. That was cool. I miss going to live concerts. I don't go as often as I'd like to. Dude,
right? Yeah.
And so that was cool. But and Casey and I started watching the new Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime, which is based off of the popular video game series, and that was awesome. We'll talk about that later. But honestly, not many video games, and that's just okay. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I think we're three birds of a feather over here, fellas. It's been pretty wacky at work, so I've stayed very busy. By the time I get home, I'm just like, I kind of want to just make dinner and then like work out and hang out with my family. And we've had such a hard time linking up. If I do play video games, it's just by myself for an hour or so. So yeah, I did a little bit of Helldivers, but the bulk of it is just kind of offline fun these days for me, man. I think the working out has been really nice. I feel like $1,000,000 drinking protein crap and, really going for it. And I'm ready to play some disc golf, playing disc golf tomorrow with a group of people. I'm excited to get out there. Every morning, you guys, it's like 59 degrees and it's sunny and I'm like, and I'm driving to work right now like a chump, like I should be out there enjoying just God's country. Like I want to be outside. I want to play with my kids. I want to stay home. I want to go to the park. I want to go, certainly play disc golf. So I finally get to cash in on that on Saturday. Saturday I'll be doing that. Anyway, I played a little bit more of Red Faction Guerrilla on my Steam Deck, same as usual. I downloaded a new game for my Steam Deck called Wreckfest, which is like a demolition derby driving game that had good reviews and was on sale. I'll report back when I've actually played it because I've yet to actually play it. But I think it'll be. I was really craving like a driving game. I think we've talked about the Burnout series before. Burnout Paradise, one of my favorite games. I almost bought that. But it wasn't as like discounted or anything as this game was. So I thought, well, this has good reviews, I'll check it out. And the destruction physics are always, a good time for me. So, mostly Helldivers and chill.
Dang, son.
What is this RimWorld business? No,
right,
Jared, tell us about RimWorld, man. What are you doing over there? Are you taking us to the moon?
Taking you to space, fellas, and I'm gonna share my screen right now so you guys can.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I've never done this before. I'm gonna go live.
Do you actually have RimWorld like pulled up so we can see the thing?
No. It's a presentation here. Tell me if you guys can
It's
see.
literally a PowerPoint. Yeah, buddy.
Are you guys seeing the full screen?
I am. I'm seeing the
Okay.
whole thing.
Well, this was our planet. As you can see from the word art at the bottom left. I abandoned the word art like a slide in because it's really annoying. You can't. For some reason, PowerPoint is like a really clunky program. It's only been around for like 30 years, so you'd think.
Oh, don't I know it?
So this is our planet. At the beginning of every RimWorld run, you put in like a seed. It gives you like an automatic, like random, like fluffy jacket, and it'll give you this world. There's different biomes here. I went with the temperate forest. That's our location right there, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our location. We're in the temperate forest. Okay. This has 4 seasons. This is what you'd expect, right? Out of this is Jake Land. This is God's country. Okay.
Yeah.
This is where we dropped. So here we are. Keep in mind, the mods. There's a new version out. It's 1.5. We just went from 1.4 to 1.5. And with that, all the mods, or at least a lot of the mods, got outdated. And one of the mods that got outdated was the one where you can like really customize your guys. So with the biotech mod that or biotech DLC that I have, I was able to kind of give us the correct genes for our xenotypes.
Oh.
And but here we are. Deg, so I had to kind of random to go through and
Deg's an orphaned neuroscientist.
Deg was an orphan neuroscientist, and he's also a night owl. He was because you like to have a team of people who like have a well-rounded skill set across everybody.
Sure.
So Deg was our resident scientist, intellectual researcher. You got to be able to research. Jake, you got for some reason you're a dead-eyed gardener, dude. I mean, you got the shooting skill, and then you got.
I got
plants.
the shooting though.
Yeah,
That's
you
good.
got a green thumb. You're an apocalypse survivor, but you were also you have a chemical fascination. I didn't really pay attention to that, and it caused us problems. It just means that you just constantly want to you have to be drinking.
Start a meth lab or something.
You have to be drinking or doing some sort of substance, or else you're unhappy. And I was on the right. I just had some kind of well-rounded. The flames indicate the passion that you have for that thing, and you'll get better at it much, much, much quicker. And your mood is, if you really enjoy doing it, then it increases your mood when you're doing those things. Oh, okay. And apparently I was a reclusive, cooking, ugly person who makes VR video games. So
that's all of them.
Wild.
Yeah. So that's us 3. This is us crash landed. You can see on where Deg is, there's an otter. You always land with a pet with the crash landed scenario. So we got a sea otter, who I named him GT, dude, for Grasstoucher.
Yeah, dude.
And this is all of our gear. This is us zoomed out. That's us at the bottom left. And the best laid plans. I don't know what that means. That's what I wrote. I got so I got our buildings kind of mapped out over here.
Okay.
Zoomed in, we're balling. So there's Snoop Dogg, dude. All right, so we'll be here for a while. Deg thinks you should give your faction a name. We're the Grasstouchers, and our base was called the Grasstouchers First Bastion of Podcastery.
Yes.
And this is a few days in, and it's raid time, fellas. A group of pharaohs from the Heartslayers arrived, and on slide number 1 up there, you can see Jake. Good job maiming. You shot him, and he was pretty much maimed. And I decided
What a shot. That's pretty far. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, you clipped him a few times on the way over there, and then I decided this guy's not worth capturing and kind of like negotiating, trying to get him to join us. So I just murdered him. And you can see on the bottom there, you got immediately back into hunting the tortoise that was across the river. While I'm over there murdering this guy who's crawling away trying to save his pitiful life. Jake, you shortly thereafter got malaria. I put thanks
I am
Africa. You are sickly. I put thanks Africa. Because that was kind of their deal. The donkeys, we had some donkeys that joined us at some point, and I put them in our little pen where I was growing potatoes, and they had a miscarriage due to starvation. That was my fault. Very sad, honestly, is what I have.
Bummer, dude.
I know, I was very sad about that.
The detail in this game, the donkeys can have miscarriages? You kidding me?
So shortly thereafter, a woman named Petal Hackberry called from nearby. There were some people, there were some like dog men that were chasing her, and she said, if you can defend me, then I can join you guys. So I said yes, new colonist, why not? Another set of hands and female hands. Fellas, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But there's only 3 of us.
Well, I know. You're gonna have to. You got to let things play out from that point. Nothing weird is going on in this colony. Okay.
All right.
But I put 3 guys, a girl, and a colony in space. I don't know if you guys remember the TV show 2 Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Let's play on that.
Yeah.
So there's Hackberry on the right. She joined in, and she's going up to our colony. Okay, now the 2 dogmen showed up. Mission accomplished. Dispatched them very, very easily, very quickly. I got a little bloodied up because I had the knife. But then you can see you guys' weapons there. Hackberry picked up the throwing knives, took those guys out. Okay. Nice. Now here's some plot for you fellas. Okay. Got a mission. Okay. Here we're reading this. Somebody named Tuna is in a remote settlement. He needs help. There's 4 turrets and a settler defending the site. But wait a minute. He's your uncle. He's your Uncle Tuna, Jake.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was like, oh,
dang,
man.
Dude, they got my Uncle Tuna in this game?
They got your Uncle Tuna in here. They got everything. I downloaded the Jake's entire genetic family mod, by the way. Somebody made that. I don't know who did that. But, hey, our donkey gave birth successfully, and there he is. This is some fireworks for you guys. All right. So later on, Hackberry went up and was, because she eats waste packs. She's some weird bug space plant woman.
Yeah, I saw that. She's a phytokin.
She's a phytokin.
Plant-based humanoid.
Right. So she was eating these waste packs, and then these bugs came up from the surface and were loitering around there. And the bugs are bad news in this game. They chased her down and around, but then Deg to the rescue, came over there and kind of got in their way, dragged them back to our base where we were lucky enough to have an entire trading caravan present. You're sleeping for this whole thing. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom.
Yeah.
But during all the fracas, we lost GT. He got in the middle, and as you can see here, somebody named Ollie misfired. It looks like he's got a Desert Eagle there, and shattered GT's brain. Which caused him to die, which was really unfortunate. Jeez. So I put taps right there. You guys know taps. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay. But then Deg came over, rescued Hackberry. Very good job. Unfortunately, not long after that, I died from the plague.
No,
which is incredibly
not the
dumb.
VR game dev.
Yeah, dude, we lost our game dev. We lost our Jared. I was dead. I was very upset about this, but we moved forward. Deg, instead of burying me in the grave that I had dug, he put a bug in there and then decided to throw me in the trash pit. Not cool, dude. Very unchill, Deg. I had you pick me up and rebury me over there. That's me with the sunglasses on. Okay, Jake goes berserk.
Sadistic rage.
You went on a sadistic rage and just began just went after this prisoner that we were trying to convince to join us, and you got absolutely bodied, dude. You got freaking wrecked by this
Look
fat
at that
chick,
big. That
dude.
prisoner's a big boy, dude.
It's a woman, dude. You got
my bad.
Okay, and then here comes Super Deg again. I put the Superman thing on his chest. You got attacked by a Utyrannus, giant dinosaur, and you got your freaking right eyeball ripped out. But Super Deg came over and killed it. Okay, and then he's human after all. Super Deg finally perishes. Things went really, really sideways after that. But I wanted to put the photo on the left in there to include the fact that our donkey did what you couldn't, Jake. He beat up the prisoner that beat you up.
You finished him off for me?
Yeah,
boy, donkey won.
Yeah. So that's what happened. That's when things really fell apart, and I decided back to the plot.
That's when things
we gotta save Jake's Uncle Tuna. So I formed a caravan, and you can see there Jake's pulling his donkey out of the map, and on the bottom right there you have that distance to go. A lot of mountainous region. Took you a little while.
Ooh, yeah.
And you arrived here. There you are at the top right. You can see your mood bar here is all the way at the bottom.
Ooh,
you're very sad.
Not a good trip.
Not a good trip. Your friend Jared died. Your friend Deg died. You're very sad. And I said, it's great to be the king. Psych. You suffered a complete, total mental breakdown and went catatonic. End of game.
This game is for real.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So those are the details of the run. It was about almost 4 hours that elapsed over the course of this week.
Jeez.
Finn. So that's it.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, that was our first. That was the Grasstouchers' first bastion of podcastery.
All right.
It's very sad how it ended. We had some good times though. I've started our second run, and it's gotten weird fast. I accidentally made Greg a woman, and he and I are having a baby, and we were going to get married, and then in the second trimester, I broke up with him, dude. So it's pretty it's gone sideways in its own ways, but at least everyone's still alive on that one. I will be I'll be updating you guys on that hopefully next week.
Yeah, dude, new weekly segment, all these parallel universes of Jake, Jared, and Deg trying to survive in space.
Just trying to make it, man. And and we're out there, and I'm just trying to keep us from having I was pretty phased at first. I was like,
is that in that game? Do male characters like hook up in
it's
that game?
in the game, I think. I'm pretty sure. I don't it's not something that I usually pursue. But homosexuality is a trait. And I saw that it said new lovers, and I played this game a lot, and I'm like, wait a minute, there can't be new lovers on this base. There's just us guys, right? And I go down there, and sure enough, he and I had been getting freaky deaky, and he's currently pregnant with my child. But whether or not we're together, Greg's gonna give birth to my child soon. And
oh my gosh. I'm gonna hit you up for child support. Is that in it's a pretty detailed oriented game, I assume. Child support is probably
it's got a little of everything. But yeah, that was those my exploits, guys. I'm glad you were able to watch that. I appreciate you guys. I've got a full 5-minute time lapse of the entire base, start to finish. So,
dude, nice.
Logging it away.
This is like Patreon
use.
bonus content.
Yeah, dude.
Huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
This is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, listeners, let us know what you think about that. Come on, you want more of that? I sure do. Gee whiz, I want to hear. It. And for a paltry $500, we'll put your name in the next one.
Yeah, you can join our colony for $500.
Yeah. Just hit that link right there. Yeah.
Someday, fellas. Someday.
Nice, dude. Well, hey, let's talk TV a minute here, Deg. I know I've talked about Shogun. Side note, great episode this week. And some of the other shows we've been getting into. What have you been hitting up in the notes here? I see some good stuff.
Well, the old Amazon Prime released Fallout, which is an adaptation of the video game series, and it's really good. It's really good. Really good reviews so far, both in terms of just audience and critic scores, and it's kind of a, it's its own story. It's not based off any particular Fallout game, but it takes place in the universe. And me being the Grasstoucher I didn't realize that Fallout takes place in a parallel universe where atomic, like basically World War II and the atomic struggle continued after World War II, and that somehow that caused society to become retrofuturistic. So
Right.
it takes, like, the beginning of the show it's kind of a prequel, and the beginning of the first episode is kind of a flashback, and it it takes place in like 2070 or 2080 or something like that. And but there's like old timey looking radios and like metal blimps and stuff, but they also have like internet. It is retrofuturistic, right? And obviously, if you know Fallout, it jumps forward 270 years, and you see just kind of the aftermath. And it's
People coming out of the vault after all this time.
and it shows the vaults, and then it shows kind of the actual world, and it's very good. The acting's good. It is ultra violent, but not in the. They use violence for some humor, but not to the extent that The Boys does. Certainly,
Sure.
Yeah, acting's great. Special effects are good. The storyline's really.
You know who
unique.
one of my favorite actors ever? He's been in so much good stuff. Walton Goggins, who plays what I guess is, he's sort of a mascot kind of character at first, where he's like, at least what the impression I got from the trailers is that he's like a spokesperson for Vault Tech or something. I don't know. And then he's sort of a different character after people come out of the vault. He's like this other thing. But
Yeah.
Walton Goggins is awesome.
He's
in like
yeah.
everything I've ever seen him in, and I'd be very excited to see him in this.
Yeah, he's very, very good in that show. He kind of steals the show a little bit. But something the show does really, really well is kind of, showing some people what they were like before the atomic war, as it was, right? And this is not too much of a spoiler, but like some people, due to the nuclear radiation, were able to survive well past an average human lifespan. So there are people in the show that were alive before the atomic blasts, right? So they're like 300 or 400 years old, right, in the show, and it's pretty cool. And so you see, there's a lot of flashbacks to their former lives, and you kind of see who they were as people before that influences who they are and how they behave in the wasteland, right? It's very good, very good. We've watched 3 episodes. You, Jake, would love like I don't even know what they're called, knights in the show. They're the guys in like the big suits of armor. In the game it's Brotherhood of Steel. Yeah, Brotherhood of Steel, but the actual guys themselves are called knights, right?
Right.
And they're just so bad. Just huge, hulking, just invincible, basically. Anyways, very good. Highly recommend. You guys, I think, would both really like it.
Is that coming out like a new episode every week, or did they do that thing where they released them all at the front, or what's the release schedule there?
I think it's all out. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they released all of it. It's good, and there's plenty of mystery to it. They don't reveal. They reveal a little bit each episode of. It's very much one of those shows where not everything as it seems. A la what was that show you got me into on Apple TV, Jake?
Severance.
Severance. Very Severance.
Silo.
Severance. Yeah.
Remarkably similar premise is The Silo, also on Apple TV, also very good. There's a outrageously high likelihood that I will watch this, maybe even tonight. I don't know, because I'm not like, there are like Fallout bros, that when Fallout 3 came out, it was like their new favorite thing in the world, and there's lots of merch, and there's Funko Pops, and there's the Fallout the coffee mug, Fallout the breakfast cereal, Fallout the flamethrower, like it's all there. And I say that because I have a friend, Dave, shout out to Dave if you're listening, who has a Fallout coffee mug. And I was like, hey, Fallout. It's not like my favorite thing in the world, but I really, really loved Fallout 3 and New Vegas and 4 to a lesser extent. I would love for this to be something that continues and goes really well, because I think it's one of the few games that I think works really well as a TV or movie adaptation, because there's a precedent for this kind of thing, to be in a TV show or a movie where you've got a post-apocalyptic thing, but it has its own little spin on lots of stuff, So that's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it's very, very good, and there's plenty of little shout outs to the video games, and I think it benefits it that it's not based off any particular video game, right? There's like elements, There's elements of all the games, like the blue suits they wear in Fallout 4, in the vaults, those are in the show, and there's actually like a Funko Pop, just kind of a little cameo of like a Fallout Funko Pop, just sort of things like that.
Would you say that there's so many Easter eggs as for it to be distracting or pandering, or is it like a good amount? Or what do you? Okay.
I mean, I played Fallout 3. I haven't played any of the others. Fallout 3 is a rad game. That's a really good game. But
I get it, rad.
Yeah, yeah, and like the little arm device they use. I don't remember what it's called, but
the Pit Boy.
The Pit Boy, yeah, Pit Boy, like that, like. A lot of people have those, in the show, and so there's enough Easter eggs for the longtime fans, and there's, some of them I don't even understand, and I have to go, they're not distracting. They're like, I'll go back and watch the episode and go, let's see if I can find some things, from the games or whatever. And very good. Kyle MacLachlan is also in that show. He's awesome. He's great. The main character. Is the actress, her name escapes me, but she's also in another favorite show of mine called Yellow Jackets, which is about that high school girls soccer team that gets stranded in the mountains and starts resorting to cannibalism. Really good show if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It's very good.
Sounds like a little laughs.
Yeah, that's right. But she's one of the main characters in that show. She is the main character in Fallout. And kind of the whole hook of the show is it's from three perspectives. It's from her perspective, the Walter Goggins perspective, right, and then one guy who's a knight in the Brotherhood of Steel. So you kind of go back and forth between their three perspectives. Very, very good. Highly recommend. And that kind of leads me into a question, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. But what are you guys?
Question of the week.
What are your guys' thoughts on video game adaptations? So whether it's TV shows or movies, are there good ones? I mean, obviously Fallout proves that it's possible, right? The Witcher was pretty well received, things like that. Thoughts and maybe some examples of ones you think were successful and ones that were just bad, because there's more ones that were bad than ones that were good.
Sure. Off the cuff, I would say I don't take a hard stance on either sort of it should never be done or yes, more please. I don't really have a preference. I honestly dodge most of it. Like, I'm not a huge Halo dude, but I did not watch the TV show because I thought, I've played some of the Halo games. I've beat some of the Halo games. I've gotten to a point where I'm familiar enough with the Halo universe that I could probably watch and enjoy that show. But I just thought, I think that video game is how you're supposed to experience Halo. Like, go play ODST, go play Halo 3, go play, Reach, or play whatever. Like, there's lots of little sectors of the Halo universe that you can experience by playing the freaking Halo games. And then there's examples like, I think of, was it World of Warcraft had a movie?
Just called Warcraft, yeah.
I didn't watch it. I was never a WoW guy or a Warcraft guy, but I seem to remember that one was like pretty averagely received.
Yes.
It didn't really blow anybody away.
Not super popular.
I just, on the one hand, I'm tempted to say stop making video games into other pieces of media, because video games are supposed to be video games. It's kind of like when there's a book that's really good and it's got to be optioned for a movie, because if there's a sufficiently popular young adult fiction novel, it needs to become a movie series. And some of those are cool or whatever, but there's a purist kind of angle that I see myself taking sometimes, where I think video games are their own art form, and it's 2024. Lots of people play video games. I think we understand that now, right? Like, freaking, whether it's grandma with like Wii Tennis or whether it's Helldivers 2 with the boys, like, there's a video game out there for everybody, and I kind of want that to be the main way that people engage with video games. It's like play the game, but it is nice when something crosses over, right, from just for gamers over to like, hey, mainstream. I'd be interested if there's a poll out there anywhere. Like, is there anybody that never played a Fallout game and then watched the show and went, huh, this is based on a video game? Oh, cool. Let me go track down that video game and I'll play it. You know, I don't know that would be a lot of people, because if you're watching the Fallout TV show, there's a chance you've already heard of the game. But I don't know. The Witcher, I'm sure there's people that watched The Witcher and didn't play the game. I don't know. I don't really know. I didn't watch that. But Jared, what do you think? Do you have any examples rolling around in your head for this kind of thing?
I tend to agree basically with what you're saying. My one of my biggest pet peeves these days is generally trying to monetize anything that really doesn't need to be monetized. It bothers me. It's the corporate MO pretty much, and it's the Hollywood MO. Let's monetize this dead franchise that's already been done and is already we've already milked everything that we can of it. But the same thing with the video games. It's like, stop trying to make video games cinematic. They're already cinematic. Uncharted
If done,
exists.
Yes.
It's
my gosh.
better than the latest Indiana Jones movie.
Yes.
It's already what it is, and it's already cinematic. It's already a ton of fun to play and to watch, and you don't need to make a movie out of it, because all you're trying to do is say, remember that? Remember the game? It's a movie now. And it's like, we don't need that. That's just a money.
Right,
that's just
right.
a money grab. And there are exceptions, obviously. I mean, these days, I think the zeitgeist has shifted in a way where it's like, people will revolt if media didn't start faithfully adapting things. People are so focused and fed by media now that they would freak out. So now it's like they have to be good, and they have to
Every piece of media out there is somebody's favorite thing.
Right.
And you better believe they're a top contributor on that subreddit, and you better believe that they are going to write an op-ed at the New York Times. Or, you're going to hear from these bozos because they're way too into this one thing. Watch out, they're there. You know,
they're going to show up to the screening of the Joker with a gun, and it's like, all right, here we go again. You know, no, it's like things that come to mind. The Last of Us, great show, great adaptation, and they paid the money they should have to get the actors and the talent that they should have, and good for them. Does it replace the game? Of course not. The game, like Uncharted is.
I'm going to show my here. I haven't played The Last of Us. I know I should. I know it's good. Yeah. We all have these games and movies and TV shows in our lives that we haven't played yet. People are telling us we got to check it out. That game is famously incredibly cinematic and very artful and full of drama, and like, it didn't need to be a TV show.
Right.
But they made it, and it doesn't suck, so like, whatever, take it or leave it. That's fine. That is an example to me of like, this is optional. I'm going to scroll right past this. I don't need to watch it. But if I did watch it, I wouldn't get mad. And that's good, right? For it to be sort of faithfully done. I think that's kind of best case scenario. It's kind of the best thing you can hope for, you know, is like, if you like the video game, then you'll be at least, right down the middle about the TV show or the movie.
Right.
If it goes absolutely horribly and it kind of gives that franchise a bad name, I hate that for the people that like the video game, because I kind of feel like that taints the waters for the next. Like, if they wanted to make the next The Last of Us Part 3 or something, right? If that TV show really stunk, then people would go, oh man, The Last of Us is ruined, and like, maybe that makes it so that The Last of Us Part 3, the video game, is less likely to come out one day.
Sure.
You know, like, I would hate for that to kind of poison the ecosystem for that IP.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And it kind of works both ways, I guess. Like, maybe for people who are just totally unaware of video games as a medium, really are enjoying that show, great. But for me, it all does fall, and I really enjoyed that show. By the way, I'm not hating on that show, but adapting a book to the screen is great because it's such a radically different way to ingest that content.
Right.
Adapting a video game to the screen should only be a thing if the game hasn't already been given a tremendous amount of cinematic life, in that initial experience. Like,
right, because the difference is with a book, there's nothing to picture other than what is in your head, and so it's like another dimension, that hasn't even been touched at all.
Right.
If a game has come out in the last 10 years, there's a chance that it was actually pretty good just to ingest on a visual basis, and it may or may not have. Honestly, there's CGI in video games that's blowing out of the water some of the special effects that you've seen in TV shows,
right.
depending on the budget.
Right.
So like the video game needing another visual medium that is non-interactive is like up for debate, depending on the franchise.
And that's it for me. Is if it's doing something new, for the original storytellers, because I know Naughty Dog has had a real hand in that show, and they've been able to tell stories that are adjacent to the video game that they can't otherwise tell on the game.
Yeah.
Like there's little things going on that they're kind of, you can tell they're kind of enjoying fleshing out the world that they built in the game. But like I watched the Twisted Metal show. That show's dog crap. I hate
you told
it.
us it was just.
I absolutely freaking hate it, dude. Some
so
people might like
unnecessary.
it.
Who was asking for this? Absolutely no one. Like, what the frick?
Yeah, I really hated it. There's ones that just go really poorly. Doom, the Doom movie. I know it was like fun.
I forgot there even was.
But
a
it was
Doom
like
movie.
not. It was like really passable. I think that's the only thing that bothers me. It's not so much that, like, I'm not trying to be like, stop invading on video game turf or anything stupid like that. I'm just like,
it's pretty cringy.
Stop making stuff that's already tremendously derivative.
There's already an avenue to enjoy that thing. You don't need to transmogrify it into some other kind of media because there's already a very, very good product to enjoy.
Right.
So unless you're going to be Naughty Dog, unless you're going to get Pedro Pascal, unless you're really going to crush it,
right.
Like, don't bother. Just don't. You
Right.
know, it's transparently this cash cow like move, and it's really annoying.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question, and I'll let you answer this first, Deg. What's something that you would like to see made into a video game that is not currently a video game?
So, like a show or a movie that I'd like to see.
Book, show, movie, big anime, manga, anything.
That's completely
all of
different
them.
Because the reason I ask, there's a soft spot in my heart for some of the James Bond games. There was one that kind of did Uncharted before Uncharted, and I think I've talked about it before. Everything or Nothing. Willem Dafoe with GameCube era graphics, sort of quasi faithfully rendered in CGI according to GameCube's computing power. Pierce Brosnan, third person action game, all the cool little Bond trinkets, and John Cleese actually voice acted and mocapped for the character of Q. Dame Judi Dench in there for M. I really like James Bond stuff, and that video game is like top tier James Bond video game for me because it had all the trappings of the movies, the stylization and the soundtrack. And you get an Aston Martin or a Porsche, and you're like, just the trumpet player in me is having just a heart attack. It's so good. And so I think of that as, this didn't used to be a video game. It used to be something else entirely, but this is a really cool, like, being able to walk around in that world, being able to actually, hide from like bad guys and like steal the crown jewels or whatever. Like, that is a new dimension to enjoying James Bond, because now you get to feel like a James Bond. Deg, do you have something like you wish it was a video game and that it be done well?
I will say, like, I loved, and I still really think the Harry Potter books are good, and that Harry
I
Potter.
heard that game that came out recently was very good.
It's pretty good, pretty controversial amongst some communities.
Yeah,
but
you're a loser.
but
Here we go.
But I will say this on that note: what I don't, and I understand licensing is part of it, but when you're taking something that's a film or a book and you're adapting it to a video game, and much like they did with Fallout, where they didn't take any exact game and recreate that as a TV show, right? They took the setting and the some story beats. I'm waiting for a video game. Okay, I'll give you here's a good one. This is a good answer. I want to literally play The Lord of the Rings. I don't want to play some side story crap where I'm some some orc that discovers he's a thief and some no name loser. I want to be Frodo in the Shire, and I want to reenact all the events from that movie, but with item gathering and side quests and Unreal Engine 5 and I don't want to do some side BS, and that's what bothers me with a lot. And Harry Potter game is like this too. It takes place 300 years before Harry Potter. They always do this with games. They don't ever create an honest to goodness actual video game of the movie that's actually good. It almost never happens.
Pretty rare. I can't think of one off the top of my head. There have been a lot of Lord of the Rings games. I distinctly remember back in the old Blockbuster days renting more than once Return of the King.
Oh yeah.
Which was a pretty sweet, GameCube, PS2, Xbox era game that was split screen co-op and hack and slash, and your character, it was almost like Gauntlet or something, where your character would level up and get new abilities and stuff. I played that a lot. And that was an example of, this is in the Lord of the Rings kind of universe. I think maybe they got some of the voice actors. I can't remember. And you played as Legolas or Aragorn or whoever. But it was not the story from, the movies. Not really, not verbatim. And it certainly wasn't fleshed out in Unreal Engine 5. But, I'm glad you brought that up. There's a Lord of the Rings game that I think I played it on Game Pass maybe. I'm not sure. Shadow of Mordor.
That game was reviewed very well.
It was reviewed very well. But I did not care for it. I found it to be really annoying the way that there was I seem to remember it felt like a walking simulator. There's all these patrols of orcs and I have to get past them and I don't know. It was kind of lame for me. The Gollum game was legendarily bad. I don't know if you guys saw about that.
Yeah.
The reviews for that were a joke. Who authorized this? This is terrible. But yeah, I think there's got to be some more that they could do with that. What else, Jared? What do you think? Is there anything that you wish could be of it? What sort of TV or movie or book thing do you want to be able to walk around in a video game?
Man, this reminds me of the kinds of conversations I would have with my brother when I was a kid. We would think about games and we were they should make a game like this, and throwing around concepts. And I think it's not. There's nothing that's totally outside the realm of what's been done. I want things to be done better. I want them to make another X-Men Legends game. But I want every character to be really fleshed out and feel really different. I want to switch from Wolverine to Gambit and go, I'm switching this character because he's going to tear through this level, unlike what I would have done with Cyclops or whatever. And that sounds probably pretty boring and pretty lame. Probably sounds kind of contradictory to what I've been saying and all the things I say, how I don't like things to be derivative. But I think I'm with Greg on this, where it's they're always trying to. It's kind of it's the video game equivalent of the Hollywood thing that I was touching on before. How early on, especially with video game movies, especially with superhero movies, no shade to Sam Raimi, but Spider-Man. As a kid, I was very disappointed because I was this Tobey Maguire is a freaking dork. He's not cool. He doesn't even as a kid I was not picking up on this guy's my favorite superhero. Yeah, right. This guy's a dork. My dad could beat this guy up, no problem. Granted, my dad's a pretty big guy. But
yeah.
but it's just like there's this weird itch that creative directors have in their mind where they're like, I got to put my spin on it. I got to make sure this is my version of this. And it's like, no. This is not for you. This is for a customer base. This is for people. This is for gamers.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Jared just struck a pose that was, one.
Think of the Olympics.
Yeah.
A long time ago on the podium.
I feel two ways about that statement, only because as somebody who has done something remotely creative in their past, right? As a music, really all three of us can relate to this to a degree. As a musician, when you get a piece of music that, let's say you're in a band and you're working on some song, somebody else might have wrote that song. If you didn't write it yourself, and certainly in the context of like orchestral music or wind band, from where Greg and I primarily would that's kind of our context originally speaking. You get a piece that's by a composer. And then you as a band, and then the director of the band is like giving your interpretation of that thing. And I think that's the dilemma that a director of a TV show or a movie or the head creative director of a video game kind of puts themselves in. It's like, all right, well, here's this series of ideas, this barrage of concepts. There's all this stuff. I got to wrap it up into something, and I got to make it something. And some directors make it about them, right? If they're sort of an auteur, like, oh, this is me, this is my thing. Sometimes it pans out really well because their vision is really relatable or isn't alienating, or it's executed extremely well. I think of Denis Villeneuve's Dune, right? Like that's pretty landmark achievement. Like nobody asked for David Lynch Dune to go away, but he goes, I got an idea, and he got the rights, and it happened, and it was incredible experience. So yeah, you've got that dilemma, right? Of like, do you separate the art from the artist? Who's the artist? Is it the guy who, in Helldivers 2, the guy that designed the textures and the physics of like the capes, is Helldivers 2 his creation because he did that? No, he's like one of several people because there's no one person that made this thing. So like, who gets the credit for whether Helldivers is any good? I don't know. Is it the creative director? No, not really. He would probably tell you I have a team, and it's tough to like place blame, but I sure do love pointing blame at just sort of the industry, right? Because it's fair. It's a fair criticism. Like, man, you guys are milking this stuff, and half of what you turn out is absolutely unplayable or unwatchable. My contribution to this question that I posed, because I'm such a Tom Clancy head, have you guys read or seen the movie of Tom Clancy's Patriot Games?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. Great movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
Great book. Astonishingly easy to read because it's pretty gripping. Lots of action, lots of intrigue, lots of CIA sort of like
that's the one with
governmental stuff.
That's the one with
and
Willem
the movie
Dafoe,
has Harrison Ford. What's that?
That's the one with Willem Dafoe. It's in like South America.
I just remember Harrison Ford being Jack Ryan, but Patriot Games Willem Dafoe ?
He was in one of them, Patriot Games, and
he was in Clear and Present Danger.
Great flick too. Sorry,
Harrison Ford, also very good. Harrison Ford played Jack Ryan in a couple of different Tom Clancy film adaptations, and he's just that guy. But Patriot Games follows Jack Ryan in his like kind of what I think of as like his element where he's not the president. In some of the Tom Clancy stuff, there's like President Jack Ryan. But in this, he's like
Hoffman.
Yeah. Jack Ryan is like a CIA analyst. And as an analyst, he picks up on something and then like goes and chases it down. There's an Amazon TV show called Jack Ryan that is very good, starring what's his name from The Office.
Jim, but starring Jim from The Office.
That's right.
Jack Hoffman.
But I think Patriot Games would make a delightful video game because you could go kind of a la Uncharted, but also way more grounded and not too sort of fantastical and impossible to survive odds,
Right.
Because Air Force One, there's some really high tension. That's another Tom Clancy, thing. There's all these really high tension scenes that I think, man, to like get a FPS kind of like first person view or even third person, to be like walking around in this like CIA intrigue kind of story, and make it be story focused and not unrealistic. I think that'd be really rad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think
totally.
Tom Clancy's probably rolling in his grave all the time since his content has been used and abused, so maybe that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I hear you, though.
Good. Well, I tell you, in closing, I have a short little correction to make from last week. I just want to apologize to our listeners, any Shania heads out there. Listen, we were goofing, and we said something about what Sheryl Crow, I think, as if she was the writer of "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." It's absolutely Shania Twain. I just want to apologize. I don't want to offend any of our 50-something female listeners. I don't know. Mom, I'm sorry. So we got that straightened out. And I should probably check to see if we have anything in the old mailbag. I'm not sure that we do. Our old pal Tyler, oh my gosh, I'm such a dummy. A couple weeks ago, we posed a question, any thoughts on Star Wars content these days? And Tyler said, hey, they're milking the cash cow. Let's be honest. That's all he had to say. He just was, Tyler. Yeah. He was just kind of in agreement, like, hey man, Star Wars is rad, but absolutely getting milked. So as a reminder, listeners, please check it out.
Thank you for taking a break from playing to weigh in and tell us that, because that is actually very accurate, and I agree.
You know, Star Wars needs the old Denis Villeneuve treatment.
Can we just like retcon a bunch of stuff and just start over with Denis Villeneuve? Oh my gosh, I bet his vision for Star Wars would be sick. Oh yeah. Man. Well, folks, that's going to do it. We're wrapping it up. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Like I mentioned with Tyler's response, please feel free to interact with our podcast on Spotify. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you don't mind. That sure helps a lot. Let us know what you think there. 1 star, 5 stars, 69 stars, whatever you have to say. I'm into it. We always ingratiate ourselves with your feedback, no matter which way it goes. And follow us on Instagram at 3 Grasstouchers. Same goes for YouTube. You can search for our YouTube handle at 3 Grasstouchers. And just something to look forward to. We do plan on recording kind of a long form session of PUBG coming up. We're going to release that. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break this coming week. As you listen to this, we will not be recording that week. We're going to give ourselves a little time off after 22 episodes. I think that's fair. And in lieu of a podcast episode, we're going to upload that video game content. So be sure to stay tuned to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on that. We'll be back recording the following week with episode 23. So until then, love you so much. Appreciate you listening. And don't forget to get out there in this beautiful weather and touch some grass.